So recently I watched John Wick 4 and this movie was amazing. Even though this movie was a 3-hour movie, this movie didn't feel like it's a 3-hour movie just based on everything that was going on because everything in this movie gets you hooked to the point where by the time that the movie is done, you just realize that damn 3 hours just passed because just everything that you wanted in a John Wick movie is actually there with the world building and understanding the whole organization of the assassins and how they organize and everything else about the round table, but also as well seeing John Wick beating up and killing all of the bad guys and the people that's going after him. But also as well, this movie also added a little more seasoning because the whole story of John Wick 4 is that the actions of what John Wick has done throughout the whole film or in the previous films are now catching up to him, but it's not just only catching up to him, but it's catching up to his friends as well. Because with the main villain played by Bill Skarsgård, he is just going after anyone that knows John Wick, anyone that is close to John Wick, his friends, his neighbors, just anybody at this point, because the whole concept of what he wants to do is build the next generation of not fearing this boogeyman that everyone else feels. And so the one way that he's able to do that is to erase anyone who's associated with John Wick, just erase them and erase them from existence and then kill John Wick because that's the whole premise of what he wants to do. And which was very, very interesting because when he plays that villainous role, he was just a very good villain because it's just like to the point where he's just like you just want him to die. You could tell that he will not stop at nothing to get what he wants. He even goes to the extreme measures of threatening John Wick's friend's family so that way John Wick's friends can actually be of service to him so that way they can go ahead and try to eliminate John Wick. And it was just very, very like interesting to see how he was able to do that. But also too, he even made one of the characters actually come out of retirement because he was threatening his daughter. And it was just a very, very slimy way, but very well calculated on how he was trying to do his message on like trying to wipe everything out of John Wick or even mentioning John Wick. And so he was just a very well calculated person, but he also was a very arrogant and hot headed person, especially towards the end of the movie, because there was just a certain scene where he just didn't really think because he was just so much in the rush of trying to eliminate John Wick, which really just caused what actually happens to him. But other than that, this movie was just very, very well choreographed with the fight scenes, the angles, and everything else. I did like how there was just one scene where they kind of focus on John Wick, and it feels like it was like you're playing like a video game because it's like John Wick is like going around the buildings just shooting people, and people are just shooting at him. And then also as well, there were just certain scenes where he was in different locations as well with the lighting, with the neons and everything else. Like it just blend very well. And it was just very cool to see like different sections of like the area that he's in, the lighting. It makes the fight scenes very well. And also too, it just brings out more of the emotions and the intensity of how this movie was. And it didn't seem like each scenes was like the same because it brought a different feeling every time that he was in like a different scene. But honestly, the other actors as well, like Donnie Yang as he plays as King, one of John Wick's old friends who now works for the table because now he has to go ahead and try to protect his daughter from being assassinated. Now he's after John Wick and he plays as like this blind assassin and he did a fantastic job. Like his character was very funny because he was just like very, very goofy. He was just like, nah, I don't want to do this. I'm retired. But then next thing you know, when he knows that not only his life, but his daughter's life as well is going to be like assassinated, he's just like, all right, I'll go ahead and do it. And you could just tell like he was just like, look, I don't want to do this, but I have to. and he plays his roles as being like this blind samurai. Like he was like no joke. Like this man, as soon as he stepped into the scene and he's in like fight mode, like he was just 100% badass. And he was also kind of remorse when he has to like face against like John Wick or people that he knows, because he was just like, look, I don't want to do this, but like I kind of have to. And like I just like how his character was. He even used doorbell to know where his enemies is coming from, so that way he can go ahead and finish them off. And like I mean, like he was a blind assassin. Even though he was blind, he will still will kill you and whoop your ass. But there was also another character as well. He was known as Tracker. The actor's name is like Anderson. I cannot pronounce his first name. He did a great job as well. I feel like his character was more human because he was an assassin, but he also was just more human like, because just like when he was trying to make a deal with Bill Sarsgaard's character, you can just tell like the blind man, the blind samurai was just like, hey, be careful, you make a deal, like you shouldn't do it. And so once he made a deal with him, he kind of realized like, yo, like Bill Sarsgaard's like main villain character was like no joke. And he was kind of like very very much of like I said, like his character was like more of like a human like being, because yeah, the he wants the money, but he also was just like, you know what, certain things was not really that worth it. Or he's just like, you know what, I'm just going to make sure like John Wick actually survives for a little bit, so that way the money will be raised up more, and then I probably will finish him off. But like his character was really great as well. But other than that, like John Wick's whole story, the only bad things I can just say about this movie was that when John Wick actually talked Keanu Reeves, that dialogue was just like, ooh, like every time he talks, it was just like, it was kind of rough. But the more time you watch the movie, the more it kind of like phase out, but it still was bad. Other than that, that's all I can say about this movie. Like everything else about this movie was pretty good and it was pretty solid. I give this movie a 9.5 out of 10. And like I was entertained, I was glued to my seat. I had so many different emotions because like there were just certain scenes that were just like, oh my gosh, because John Wick, he took a beating. Like there was just certain scenes I was just like, I know John Wick is like literally exhausted. And there was just certain scenes where it's just like, damn, like you getting pushed through walls, falling through buildings. It was just like a lot. So, but other than that, let me know down in the comment section if you guys do like this video. If you let me know down in the comment section if you guys did watch this movie. Let me know down in the comment section how you guys think about this movie, how you guys feel about it, what worked, what didn't work, and everything else. But other than that, if you guys do like the video, please give it a like, subscribe, and remember, always be decent. This is the Monotone Man, or Mr. Monotone, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day. And I'm just gonna start rambling. All right, bye.